Hey, Holocron, good morning. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. It is hot here in Washington. At 6:30 this morning, it was 84 already. I think it's going to hit 90 pretty soon. Glad you could join. I am on Constitution Avenue. This building here is the National Academy of Science. And I started out around the back of the building, but there was so much construction. Wasn't much to see. But we're heading our way over to the Lincoln Memorial because I've been putting it off because of the renovation there. But I thought today, heck, why don't we just see what the state of the state of the renovation is and how close it is to being done. So we'll check that out, and then we'll walk along the Potomac River up to Georgetown. And along the way, we'll hit a few of the scenes that we saw. If you joined for a film club yesterday, our film was Wedding Crashers, and it is filmed in and around Washington, D.C. and the Eastern Shore of Maryland. So I checked out the Eastern Shore on Thursday, and now I'm checking out scenes here in Washington. Hey, Jay, it's early for you. Good grief. Good morning, AWOL. So this building is the National Academy of Science, and I'm not going to cross over because we're heading to the Lincoln Memorial. Once this building is done, there is some construction behind this building, and you can see the cranes over there. Once this area is done, which also includes the Department of State, we will do a walk around here because there's some really cool architecture back here. And if you can see, let me see if I can zoom in. There's a statue of Albert Einstein over there under a tree. A lot of kids like to climb around Albert Einstein on their school trips. So that's a thing. Thanks for joining. All right, let's head our way to the Lincoln Memorial and see what the state of the renovation is there. Oh, and a little breeze. Oh my gosh, it feels good. It's hot. It's definitely summer. I think yesterday was the first official day of summer. Oh, it's definitely summer. So I'm walking south from Constitution Avenue to the Lincoln Memorial. This area is kind of part of the National Mall area. And it includes the Vietnam Veterans National Memorial, the Korean Veterans National Memorial, which are certainly worth visits. I'm not going to visit them today. When I do visit those war memorials, I like to make sure I'm in the right space and totally respectful. Don't like to miss a silly stream with a visit to the memorials, but the Vietnam Memorial is just here. You can see in a distance there, the monument of the 3 soldiers, which is part of the memorial. And then the memorial wall, you can't see it because it's down below ground just in front of me. So the ground, beautiful wall is there, but we're not going to visit that today. We will check out. Okay, I can see there's still construction going on here, but that's okay. It's been undergoing a renovation for, I have to say, at least 2 years. They are building a new visitors center. So we'll check that out. I do like the way they've done some of the new visitors experiences here on the mall. The relatively new visitor center at the Washington Memorial and then the U.S. Capitol. It's really good because they're kind of hidden. So they don't obstruct or take away from the monument itself.
See you guys.
And I will just take a look at the flag, because that's a nice view. Hope everyone has something fun planned for today. Whether you're in a place that's hot and humid or not. So part of the renovation was also to install a ramp for accessibility to the memorial, and you can start to see that as we turn the corner here. So that part is done. I have my opinions about that. While I am all for accessibility, 100%, there may have been a more architecturally congruent way to do it. And we'll see that in just a second. So as you walk from the Vietnam Veterans Memorial to the Lincoln Memorial, here's your view. And there's that massive ramp. I think the word incongruent is the word. It is temporary, but who knows how long temporary is. And you can see some of the other construction where the visitor center is going to be on this side of the memorial. But let's just dwell on the beauty of the memorial itself. Quite stunning, as most of our monuments and memorials are in Washington, D.C. Bright, brilliant white that shows up great in the sun. And then from here, and we'll climb up the steps, the view of the reflecting pool, shooting into the bright sun, of course. And then to the Washington Monument. But we'll walk up the steps so we can get the best view. Hey, Penny Sonley, do I have an OnlyFans? No. That's hilarious. No, nor will I ever. Hey, another space nut. I'm glad you joined. You're right on time. You are right on time. Yeah. I'm sorry. No, please go.
I just don't want to listen to you.
Excuse me? Okay. Have a great day. She asked me if I was going to be on for long because she didn't want to listen to me. Okay. Sorry. To each their own, for sure. So you can see this is a temporary structure here. But I gotta think they could have done something a little more beautiful in some way. Anyhow. Now I really want to go up to that lady and continue to talk. but I'm not going to. I hope I'm not one of those people someday. Thank you, Jay, for whatever you timed out there. I appreciate it. Now, I will be quiet when I get up into the memorial. I'm not going to chat to you all while I'm up there. Thank you, another space nut. I know. That's so funny because really and truly, usually when I'm out and about, people ask me a ton of questions. They're like, oh, where do I go next? Tell me where this is. But she obviously didn't want to hear. Now, I'm going to see if I can get this in the shot. So, oh, and there's Maryland right there. So do you see where it says Maryland? Kind of at the top of the structure there. And then look at the stones just above that facing down. We call those the Lego bricks. Don't know why they were selected architecturally. I will have to do some research on why. I mean, obviously this memorial was built way before Lego, but they look like Lego bricks. And there are a few other structures in Washington, D.C. that have that Lego effect. Okay, I am going to be quiet now just for a few minutes while we walk around the inside of the memorial. And that's my choice, and that's okay. So I'm going to go quiet. I'm trying not to get people in the shot who are with families. It's funny because lady who barked at me is just taking selfies of her own. Ha ha.
We will make him sit. But do you want to stand there?
I think what people typically think is when they come here in person, some say it's smaller than they imagined, and some say it's much bigger than they imagined. I think it's just, I think because I've been here so many times, I don't think about it that way. But it is absolutely beautiful. And people tend to be quiet here. And this is what people also come for. This view here. I know I'm shooting into the sun, so I do apologize. Hey, Journey. Well, I'm not a bro, but thank you. I'll consider that a term of endearment. And yeah, you can come and see this on Google anytime you want. But I'm here in person. And I'm here today. And I'm a researcher. And I log my research by making little videos every place I go. So I'm glad you've joined. And I'm going to stop shooting into the sun. It is getting hazy. It's one of those triple H days here. Hazy, hot, and humid. Okay. All right, and I've managed those steps without falling down. So not to belabor the point, if you come here, and I encourage you to come here, please do visit the Lincoln Memorial. This little bit of construction is not a problem. We're building, oh, and here's the sign, right? It's building the visitor center that's going to be technically in the basement of this beautiful monument, which is okay. And the finish to the accessibility improvements will be in 2026. And it will not include this series of ramps. Which again, I mean, obviously we're all for accessibility, but other monuments and memorials have had such improvements in the past where they've created a solution that was more architecturally pleasing, other than wooden ramps with metal fences. For such an important monument like the Lincoln Memorial, it's just something that I think could have been designed slightly better. But I'm not here to criticize. I applaud all the improvements that are being made constantly around the National Mall. What you can see here, and I'm sorry for the glare, the Washington Monument. Beyond that, the Capitol Dome. Just in front of the Washington Monument, at the end of the reflecting pool, you might be able to see two fountains. And that's part of the World War II Memorial, which we've visited a few times, once in the pouring rain. So all the attractions around this area, really easy to get to. An absolute great day to be out with family, as you can see, all the families who are out today. All right, and I will stop talking so tentatively once I get down all these steps. There's a lot of steps, so the accessibility piece is very important. It's a lot of steps. And an absolutely beautiful, beautiful memorial, except for the ramp, on a beautiful day. So, hey, Tomby. Tomby, so you also got to visit the Lincoln Memorial. You walked down from, we were near the White House, and you walked down here. So you got to see it as well in its current state. 2026, it'll be all done. Oh my goodness. Okay, excuse the language. Didn't expect the dad to be cursing at his kid. What a day today. It's a crazy day. Everybody's a little touchy today. Yes, Tommy, and there's always a reason to come back for more. Always, always, always. Oh, I can't wait. I love to be tour guides. So, Jay, when you get here, you bring baby nerd takes and the fam. I am your tour guide. Tomby can attest to how much I enjoy touring. I don't know why these people are screaming. Shush. All right, now I am going to shout at these people because the war memorials are here. And we don't act like idiots around the war memorials, for sure. So we'll take our last look at the Lincoln Memorial. And now we're going to head to Georgetown. Then we're going to walk to Georgetown on the water. Okay, now watch me act like an old lady. If they don't stop screaming. You do know the war memorials are there, right? Okay, now I'm done being an old lady. I think another great feature of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, because it is kind of below ground. It's not below ground. It's shielded, let's put it that way, is that it is a little quieter, so that when people are acting like complete idiots, the families who are there to reflect and think about their missing loved ones don't have to listen to the idiots. Now, I am walking west of the Lincoln Memorial. Turn around here and get a view. So the Lincoln Memorial is on this circular drive where in the oldie days, you could just drive your car completely around the Lincoln Memorial. Obviously, you can't do that now. But this bridge here, which is called Memorial Bridge, links the Lincoln Memorial to Arlington National Cemetery. That's another fantastic visit. I would never, ever, ever live stream from Arlington. It is the hallowed ground of hallowed ground here in Washington, D.C., actually across the river, technically in Virginia. But what you can see from here, once these guys stop shouting, boy, I'm sounding like an old lady today. What you can see on the other side of the river, if you can see that, yellowish, beige-ish structure up on that hill, that is Arlington House. That's the ancestral home of the Lee family, as in Robert E. Lee. And following the Civil War, one of the terms for treason, as committed by Robert E. Lee and others, was the forfeiture of his ancestral lands, which then became Arlington National Cemetery. So quite a fitting use of that land. Arlington House presents an amazing view of Washington, D.C. It is actually the best view of Washington, D.C. So if you get to visit Arlington National Cemetery, make sure you get up to Arlington House to take in the view of the entire Capitol. We won't be doing that day, and we won't be live streaming. Now, here's the challenge. I'm walking to Georgetown. I got to figure out how to get there, but we will. We will get there together. Oh, Tomby, that's too sweet. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Step one is to get to the water, and then we can follow the water to Georgetown. Oh, and we are going to visit the Kennedy Center today. So we're going to walk by the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. We'll walk up onto the patio there, and we'll get a great view from there as well. Okay, road, need walkway. I think we can do it here. Okay. Randomly deciding to take roads where there are no pathways is not a good idea in Washington, D.C. For sure, even if there appears to be no traffic. Traffic can appear really quickly. Another feature of Washington, D.C. that you do have to be aware of if you're a visitor is that the directions of the streets, especially in this area, change during the day depending on rush hour. So in the morning, some of the streets are inbound only. In the afternoon, they switch to outbound. And this is the back of it's obscured by the construction, but next year, those fences will all be gone. And you can see the statues here on this side of the Memorial Bridge that leads over to Arlington National Cemetery. Now, I'm going to take this bridge in the hopes that there's a pathway down to the Kennedy Center. I think there is. This area is like Spaghetti Junction with roads and walkways. Hope everybody's having a great day. Hey, Robert! Robert! Oh, cooking breakfast. Oh my God. Yeah, this tour today is going to end with breakfast. I don't know where. Someplace in Georgetown. I like Leopold's, which is an Austrian bakery. And they do good breakfasts. So the buildings you see ahead of you are Rosslyn, Virginia, directly across from Georgetown. Okay. So this bronze, it says Aspiration and Literature, okay? Cast in bronze, Rome, 1950, a gift from the people of Italy to the people of the United States. Well, thank you, Italy. We do appreciate it. And it has its pair across the way. And we're just behind the Lincoln Memorial. And we're going to, and there's the, if you can kind of see, there's the Air Force Memorial there. We'll get a better look at that one too. We did our Memorial Day walks. We'll do some Veterans Day walks too, when we're in the proper frame of mind to not be shouting at people. I mean, I don't think I shouted, but, you know, show some respect. And so next to the Academy of Science, which we saw when we started the stream, and the statue of Albert Einstein, that's the National Science Foundation building, I do believe, straight ahead. Really interesting modern architecture mixed in with all of the historic architecture in this area. Everyone's out running early today. I mean, I don't know what it is now. It's got to be 90 something. It's not as humid as I expected. Thankfully, I shouldn't say anything. So from this bridge, a really nice view across the Potomac. We'll get closer. We'll get a better view. And Arlington House and Arlington Cemetery. A monument called the Netherlands Carillon, which you probably can't see. And the United States Marine Corps Memorial, also known as the Iwo Jima Memorial, which I can see in a distance, but I'm pretty sure we can't see it on the stream. Oh. So I've mentioned on previous streams that the National Mall and most of the area around it, the green space, is maintained by our National Park Service. 3 cheers for the National Park Service. They do an awesome job. And part of that green space is recreation space. And all up and down the National Mall, we've seen softball games and football, what you guys call football, you know, what we call soccer. And these are the volleyball pitches, courts. What's a beach volleyball? Volleyball beaches. Okay, we're just going to call this volleyball beaches. But this public space is not just around the National Mall, but all across Washington, D.C. In addition, there's community space. There are community gardens, vegetable plots, all kinds of great uses of green space here in Washington, D.C. It was really important, not just to the early founders, including George Washington, who designated the U.S. National Botanical Gardens before Washington was even built. He said, we need a place for plants. And the Botanic Gardens were born. but in future years, space for public recreation was really important. And we love that. It's another reason why, whether you live here, work here, or visiting, just walk around, just get out and walk. Tours are great, museums are awesome, but there's a lot to see outside too. Much to see outside. Hi, Mike. You are in a different country right now. I am in Washington, D.C. To some, that may feel like a different country from the rest of the U.S., but I am in the beautiful Washington, D.C. And we're heading to the Potomac River. We are going to visit the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. We just left Lincoln Memorial. And then we'll end up in Georgetown on the water if I don't melt. If I don't melt. Actually, okay, it's been worse. So I can't keep complaining about the weather. It's been worse. This is not bad. And it's not raining. So that's a good thing. All right. I mentioned how during rush hour the directions of the streets change. I would always get stuck right around here because these streets, at the end of the day, this is southbound traffic now, but they get switched to northbound. I always end up in a circle around here. Lots of designated hiking trails in and around Washington. And so what we're on now is the beginning of the Rock Creek Trail. Rock Creek is it's a creek. Surprise! Rock Creek is a tributary of the Potomac River. It's a little creek that runs into the Potomac River. But it cuts a little valley here adjacent to the Potomac River, which has been preserved with a lot of parkland and trails that we all benefit from. And then it also contributes to the C&O Canal, which we'll check out today too. We'll see if there's any water in the canal today. All right, now we're just here where we can enter the pathway to the Kennedy Center. Walking with purpose here. Now they're supposed to stop for, they rarely do, but this one did. Thank you. So a word of caution there. I know I've been in some cities where people do always stop for pedestrians. They don't here. It's probably 50-50. So I recommend if you're walking, especially with a family, be super cautious when crossing these streets. This is a main entranceway into DC. This is a main artery, so much busier than the rest of the areas. Hi, Gretchen. Gretchen, oh my gosh, I know. It's great to see you. Yeah, I was here. I left work late. I'd planned to do a live stream from the Washington Monument at night, and people in chat, I had like 80 people in chat, which was really strange for me. And they were all thinking figured out later, they thought I was broadcasting from that plane crash that happened. I didn't even know the plane crash happened until I crossed the street and there were some people at the White House who were talking about it. Yeah, so I guess, I broke the news. Film at 11, Gretchen. Great to see you. I hope you're having a under. This is Route 66. This is the Theodore Roosevelt Bridge. Theodore Roosevelt, okay, my favorite president ever is Theodore Roosevelt. Let's take a look at the Potomac while we're here, though. If we don't get hit by a bike. Oh. Cars stop for pedestrians about 50% of the time. Bicycles stop for pedestrians about none of the time. So do be super careful. And there's a plane right there. So yeah, that plane crash happened on this approach into Reagan. National Airport. But this is one of the great little quiet spots on the Potomac River that you can just hang out on. And there's the Roosevelt Bridge that connects Virginia to Washington. There's a few folks fishing over there. Signs are posted as to what you can do in different parts around the river. There is fishing. There are rules about invasive species, though. So there are certain fish that you cannot catch and release. If you catch it, you must kill it immediately because they're killing our ecosystem. Fish that were imported from Asia come in and just eat all of our native species. So if you happen to catch certain species and they're posted, there are signs all over, you are required by law to kill the fish. Pretty cool. So this is the Roosevelt Bridge, named after my favorite president of all, Theodore Roosevelt. Why? Because he was a conservationist, and he did a heck of a lot. We talk about, and this is not a political channel, 100%, but we talk about lauding our politicians today for all they accomplish. This dude accomplished more than any other president in the history of ever. And because I'm a fan of the national parks, both he and President Grant, Ulysses S. Grant, really helped to create the National Park Service we have today. And all this green space we were just talking about. Hey, Destiny's Bears. Oh, that's too kind of you. Yeah, I'll have a lot more places on the docket. We did a lot in a short time. We saw so much in such a short time. So, and I really enjoyed spending time with Tomby and Tam. So there we are. Here is coming out of the little trail tunnel. This is the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. So, quiz question. We've looked at a lot of monuments and memorials in Washington, D.C. Where is the monument to President Kennedy? His monument is the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. What a fitting memorial. I think it's a pretty cool thing we do when we get it right. When we honor people in a way befitting to their character. So President Kennedy was a big supporter of the arts and the development of the National Endowment for the Arts here in the United States. So to have our Center for the Performing Arts be his memorial is pretty cool. And I mentioned Theodore Roosevelt. His memorial, you may wonder, where's Roosevelt's memorial? It's not that bridge we just passed. It's this island I'm looking at right now. Theodore Roosevelt was an adventurer and an explorer and a preservationist, one of our earliest and most important preservationists. And so befitting for him, this island, which is in between, it's on the Potomac River between Washington and Virginia, this was designated for him and left as wild space within Washington, D.C. There's no construction there. There's no building there. It's a sanctuary for wildlife. So that is Theodore Roosevelt Island. And that's his memorial, which is kind of cool. I like that. Visiting the Kennedy Center, there's parking, but you can park elsewhere in the city, enjoy a nice bite to eat at a lovely restaurant, and walk here. There are several ways to get here. I'm on the ramp from the trail. The Kennedy Center includes several spaces. So this is where musicals and plays are performed. The Washington Ballet, I think, the National Symphony Orchestra. But there are different concert spaces here. Workshops here. And on this space here, I'm sorry I'm shooting into the sun. On this space here, or maybe it's up there. Well, we'll find it. There are outdoor events like movie screenings and outdoor events here as well. So the arts are always happening here at the Kennedy Center. So we'll take a look around. And there's a little cafe. And here, a statue of President Kennedy. And artwork around this area. Again, not a political channel, but we must recognize presidents of any party, leaders of any party, that leave us with good stuff. There's also a wildflower garden here. Pollinators everywhere. So it's the whole island, yes. The entire island. So all the green. I'll come back over here, get out of the sun. My God, it's getting hot. So yeah, all the green that you see here between the water and those buildings in a distance is Theodore Roosevelt Island. And that entire island is his memorial. And there's trails. You can hike the island. We won't do that sometime. As you can imagine, the cell phone service there is pretty sketch. So probably won't live stream there. Oh, so it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit in Hamburg today. Oof. Yeah, all of a sudden it's really getting hot here. But that's what we're here for. We'll walk up to this next deck here at the center. And then you'll also get a really good view of what's probably the main, most recognizable part of the Kennedy Center. No boats on the river yet. Surprising. I'm sure they're gearing up to put in, as they say, I think. Put in the river. So this, I'm not going to go in the sun. I'm going to stay in the shade just to get a good shot. But that's the main building. At night, it is lit, brilliant white. It is absolutely beautiful. Just an amazing space. We'll walk around to the front here. And over here, here's the lawn I was mentioning. Up on this lawn is where there are outdoor movie nights. I've been here when it was early morning yoga going on up here. So a really nice space. And as the sign says, the nation's cultural center. Well, I think there's some other parts of the nation that might argue with that. But this is a really great place. And we'll even get a little view over here of an embassy or two. And a view of the Washington Monument from here. Okay, it's definitely broken 90 here now. All right, I'm going to sound like an old lady again. If you do visit Washington, D.C. during this time of year, make sure you bring your sunblock. Some people come to the United States and think they only need sunblock in Florida. Nope. You need it everywhere. So bring your sunblock. All right, I'm going to go around the front here and get a good shot over the front of the building. Well, thanks. I'm glad you think that the advice is good advice. I know, as I get older and my skin gets wrinklier, gotta do the sunblock. All right, we're gonna come. It's so hard to get a good picture because we're too close. So we're gonna move up a bit. Good morning. How you doing today? I know, I'm sorry. Stay cool. I feel sorry for police officers in full gear today. Opera House and Concert Hall here. I've not been to an opera here. I have been to two shows here. Maybe one, two. I think I've been to two. I know I saw Phantom of the Opera here. Not a fan of Phantom of the Opera. It was absolute torture. I think I saw Les Mis here. I've seen Les Mis so many times. I don't even know where I've seen it. But I think I saw it here. My kids saw Wicked here, but I refused to go, so I made my mom take them to see Wicked. I'm more into plays now than musicals, although I do love Les Mis. So as you can see, oh my gosh, and there's a sign. Hang on, hold the phone, hold the phone. I see Cosette. Hold the phone. What's the date? What's the date? Have I missed it? Oh my word. July 13th. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I know where I will be. Oh my gosh, it's playing now. How did I not know this? Who didn't tell me? Who failed to tell me that Les Mis is playing right now? Okay, so, gee, what a coincidence. We were talking about Les Mis and there it is. So I think I know what I need to do the minute I get home is find tickets. And then I can come back and say, I definitely have seen Les Mis here. How funny is that? A play is a musical stupid. No, I think it's the other way around. No. Little quiet spaces here. Okay, note to self. Note to self. All right, let's see which one. So these strange looking residences in front of us, these round, they may be familiar to you. You may know what it is. Okay, it's not this way. Okay, I gotta go this way. Sorry, I thought I could walk the other way.
Something.
Oh, is it that bad now? I mean, that doesn't.
Okay, I'm gonna get up on the grass because of runner. Artwork here. But these residences ahead of us are the Watergate complex. Now, it's really unfortunate that the whole Watergate scandal of the 1970s kind of created a whole vernacular. You know, everything that is a scandal is now a gate, which technically would have meant this would be Watergate Gate, but we won't go there. But the Watergate itself is a beautiful, absolutely beautiful and interesting architectural example. All of these rounded buildings here, and we'll take a look and we'll see if we can get inside the courtyard there too. Now this one, is this Joan of Arc? I can't remember what this is. Is this Joan of Arc? No, it's Don Quixote. Oh, okay, hang on. We're gonna get a better view. I absolutely love the story of Don Quixote. And, but I've not seen like a really good production of Man of La Mancha. I think the original film, which we didn't review in Film Club, but it was in my, one of our, when Stasis does his recommendations, it couldn't be biography. We didn't do musicals together. Oh, well, maybe it was biography. Anyway, the original film with Peter O'Toole is good. It's okay. The book is just so amazing, which is why it's lasted for centuries. But that's an interesting work of art there for Don Quixote. I like that. Now, back to the Watergate complex. So in this building here, which is not residences, this is office buildings, is one of the embassies that I have reviewed. I think, I'm going to quote me incorrectly, probably Bahamas is in this one. I know it's one of the island nations that's in this book here. But here on this block, and we'll walk across to get a better view, is the Embassy of Saudi Arabia. And you'll be able to we'll get a little view of some of the artwork on the windows here. The palm trees and crossed swords, emblematic of Saudi Arabia. So you can see how close we can get. And you can see those symbols on the windows here. It is amazing. It's like, it's just out of one big block of stone. I do appreciate art. No artistic skill, but I do appreciate art. Okay, we're gonna go across the street so we can get a better view. And you can see that building there. That's kind of true, Holocron, and it's kind of coincidental. You know, the scandal was named, the buildings are named the Watergate, and then coincidentally, yeah, opening the floodgates. It does kind of work in that sense. So we'll come here. Try not to get obscured by trees. It's hard to see here, but that's the embassy. You can see the flag at the top there.
Fortunately. Yeah.
Good morning.
They just let them go so terribly. Why did they only pay
So that is the Embassy of Saudi Arabia. It's a good view of the flag. And now we'll walk around the Watergate toward Georgetown, which again is an easy walk. If I hadn't been stopping along the way, this would be a 10-minute walk from the Lincoln Memorial. Oh, that's quite nice. Thanks to both of you. I appreciate that. I like these little fern things. I don't know what they are. I keep seeing them recently. And although I don't have a garden wall, I like these little fern things. So I'm gonna have to learn what they are. Now when Tomby and Tam were here, we were smelling some of the trees that were budding. And that's all gone now. There are no beautiful smells. It's all petrol and pollution today. Yeah. Okay, now I want to see. The fountains aren't on. Okay, well, Let me give you a view of the fountains, and you can just imagine the water. It's quite interesting. Hey Abe, good morning. Okay. I'm gonna go also quiet because it says like residents are here, be quiet. So I'm just gonna go really quietly through this fountain, and you can imagine what it looks like when there's water in it. Also, this hotel is on the National Register of Historic Places, not just for the scandal, but for the architecture. So there's our little sign. So just imagine the fountain is on and the water is cascading. It's really beautiful when it's working. Bummer that it's not. Beautiful courtyard too. I like that tile work. Oh, I agree, Holocron. You know, what's some runny eyes and sniffly nose? We get into these really stagnant periods with just air quality here. We've had breezes, but I think we're about to get into that time of just mucky air and haze. It's not as hazy today as I thought it would be. I also passed by, which shocks me because it's been raining so much. I passed by a little brush fire today on the way here, which is very strange. But just check that out. Just check that out. Who wouldn't want to live here? So these residences obviously go for a pretty, pretty, pretty penny. They certainly pay for the convenience of being walking distance from everything in Washington, but more so the prestige. This is a prestige property. For sure. And here we see the top of that fountain. I shall have to make some inquiries and find out when the fountain is on. It would be nice to film the fountain when it's on because it is beautiful. All right, we're on the home stretch now. We're just a few blocks from Georgetown. We'll walk up to M Street, which is the main street in Georgetown. We'll cross over Rock Creek on the bridge. And then we'll find a place for breakfast. All right, I'm enjoying the shade here right now. This is a nice, quiet, cool place. Oh, we'll also see if the canal has water in it. That's our other objective here. Carefully. My daughter and I were walking here, literally right here on this road here. And we had come here on a, I don't know, slightly cloudy day. And right here, the skies just opened up and it poured. And we couldn't have been farther away from our cars, but it's one of those times where you just laugh. You just get soaking wet and you just laugh. Good morning. Jeez Louise. Lovely. It's a big complex here. Don't know how many units, but it's a huge residential complex. We are on Virginia Avenue, heading toward the Rock Creek Parkway, back to the Potomac River. We'll get right on the water and work our way to the C&O Canal, the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal in Georgetown. Hey, Daryl. Good morning. Happy Sunday. I'm out early and then I'm going to stay in an air-conditioned home for the rest of the day. So also, if you happen to visit Washington, D.C., this is like one of those corners where there's gas stations. If you happen to visit Washington, D.C., and you're driving, I highly recommend buying gas in the state of Maryland. Our gasoline is cheaper by 20, 30, sometimes more cents per gallon. So I often curse myself when I get into Washington or Virginia and realize that I haven't filled my tank. And then I only give a splash of gas when I'm here and then make sure I fill up when I get home. So here you can see, let me get around this corner. It's $3.39 a gallon here. And in Maryland, don't quote me on this, but I'm guessing it's like probably $2.99, maybe $3.09. So it's much more expensive here in Washington and Virginia. They have different taxes than we do in Maryland. All right, now this is like 5 streets coming together, so I'm gonna walk very carefully. Onto the trail. And I'm gonna wait. So that's where we were, down there at the Kennedy Center. We walked around it, and then we walked around the Watergate complex, and now we're back to the river as soon as we can cross the street, once it is safe so to do. Oh, Gretchen, Deep Creek is just fantastic. I haven't been in years, probably 2 or 3 years, but I need to go in the fall. Maryland has beaches and industrial areas, beautiful farmland, and we have mountains out in western Maryland, and we have Deep Creek Lake, which is a beautiful lake. Glad you got to go. I hope it was good weather when you were there. I hope it wasn't one of those rainy, mucky days when you were there. Although rainy, mucky days in the mountains, for me, are fine. I don't even mind. I don't even mind. All right, so we are... Make sure there's no bicycles behind me, because they do not give a you-know-what. They will just run you over. So if you start here at the Thompson Boat Center, this is your entranceway to the beautiful Georgetown waterfront, where we've been before. We've been here during the day. We've been here at night. We've gotten a little drink on the patio at Sequoia. And you kind of see the sign there, C&O Canal, mile 0. So why don't we go ahead and visit the marker while we're here. Okay, as soon as I can make sure I don't get a hit. Cars and bicycles everywhere. This is Rock Creek, tributary to the beautiful Potomac River. And this is the, I think, first entranceway of the water into the C&O Canal, the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal. And the trail itself, which is the former towpath along the canal, starts at mile marker 0, which is over here. So we'll just do that. So we can say we started at mile marker 0, and then we'll walk our way on the water. And this, yes, this is where you launch your boats from here. All the local schools, private clubs, private people keeping and launching their boats here. With a great view on the water back to the Kennedy Center there. And of course, a stellar view of the Potomac River. Now there's people on the water. I'm surprised there wasn't anyone earlier. Rainy weather, but so I know, right? Whenever you're away in the mountains, in the wilderness, out in nature, kind of doesn't matter. Glad you got out, Gretchen. That's wonderful. Now, look at the ducks all lined up. That's actually funny. They're in formation. So here you can see this lock, or this former lock for water to enter the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal, which began construction in 1828, the same year that the railroad began construction. So in one sense, the canal was obsolete from day one, but not. It was an important connection between Western Maryland all the way here to Washington, D.C. Boats transported goods back and forth on the canal, being pulled by mules on the towpaths, big barges. And this is the tide lock that allowed water into the canal. And this is certainly would be in need of dredging if it were doing that duty today, but it's not. And here is mile 0. I'm glad it's cleaned up because it had some graffiti on it last time I was here. So this is it. This is mile 0. So if you choose to walk the C&O Canal Trail, which I've been doing for years, this is where you start. I don't do it in any order. And since I'm a double back hiker, which means like if I'm walking to 3 mile markers, then that's 6 miles because I have to walk and then walk back. Some people pick them up. I don't have friends to pick me up in all the strange places that I end up. And my family thinks that I get up too early in the morning, so they're not going to do that. I've hit about 60 of the various mile markers on the canal. It's one of my completest lists. So someday I hope to finish and produce a little video of all the mile markers over the years that I've been doing this. And then here's another view of Theodore Roosevelt Island from across the water here. Those ducks are a little scary. Like, literally, they're forming an armada to attack. I don't like ducks. I don't like ducks. And then from this angle, we get the Georgetown waterfront, the Key Bridge, and the water. Someone's ducks are in a row. Yes, Galdor, that's the thing. Oh, another space nut. I understand. I understand. Well, it's interesting because I have friends who pretty regularly say, oh, let me know the next time you're out, you know, walking or hiking. I'd love to come with you. But then when I say, well, I leave at 5 in the morning, and they're like, well, can't we go at 9? No, I'm back home by 9. And then I have other friends, and I say, well, hey, I do about 10 to 12 miles, like on foot. I say, yes. Driving does not equate to hiking. I told one friend I was going 12 miles, and she thought I was hiking 12 miles from where I like driving 12 miles and then hiking for a minute. No. So, yeah. I think there are a lot of people in this area who just believe, well, there's no good place to hike here. And look, there are. Urban hiking is a thing, for sure. Yes, Jay, exactly. Then you have the whole day ahead of you. Oh, that's old people talk too. Best part of the day. Old people got the whole day ahead of me. But it's true. You know, there's something to be said. Old people know their thing. Now, we've been here before, if you've been with me, when I visited the Embassy of Sweden and Iceland, which are here in this building here. And next door is, I think, Liechtenstein is next door. So this is House of Sweden. Embassy of Sweden and Iceland is there as well. And I still don't know why there's art around the sundial, but this piece of art, some people hate it. I love it. I love this big old piece of art up here. Not this thing around the sundial. I don't care for this. But this one, oops, okay. Watch the steps here. This one I like. I do. I like the way it catches the sun at different times of day. I like the way it's lit up at night. I like that one. I think it's quite beautiful. And here, all the attractions here on the Georgetown waterfront. All right, I'm gonna find a careful place to walk down the steps. And hopefully there's no music on yet. Good. Some of these restaurants blast music. And this is a great place to end the stream. And thanks everyone for joining me this morning. It's a beautiful morning. It is hot. Definitely hot today. So I'm gonna grab a breakfast and something very cold to drink. I think this is a beautiful place to stop. I was gonna go up to the canal, but this is a much better view to end the stream on. What the hell is it? What the hell is what? 5 kind of late. 5 is kind of late. Daryl. I've missed the conversation. Ha! Well, thanks everybody. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. Thanks for joining me. This was a lot of fun. Take care.